Hello, everybody. I'm excited to have y'all here for another UTM Horizons. We've been doing several this year, so if you have not tuned in earlier, feel free to go back online and watch some of our previous recordings that we've done. It was fantastic. We've had a great speakers, and today we have another one. We'll be featuring Ereika Collins, which I'm excited to hear about the work that she's done and for her to share with you all her journey. So if it's your first time here, welcome to the Universal Tech Movement ecosystem. We love to have you here. And if you're coming back for a second, third, fifth, sixth time, thank you for being a UTMer and always supporting the work that we do. So you still got time. Go ahead, invite your mom, invite your dad, tag your friend, let them know we're about to get started. We're going live right now on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So feel free to tune in for whatever platform you like best. And I'm excited for a great conversation. So for those who may not know who we are, maybe someone shared with you this event, maybe you saw it on your timeline, but we are Universal Tech Movement. I am Michael Ward Jr. I am the president and CEO of Universal Tech Movement, and I've been rocking with this company for 10 years now. Can't believe it's been 10 years. I remember when it was a whole bunch of volunteers and not many of us. I'm a part of the mission. But since then, we've grown, we've evolved, we've changed, but our mission has stayed true. Our mission is all around connecting communities in need to the tech industry, and we do that through workforce readiness, innovation, and economic advancement. So if UTM can be a service to you, your community, your partners, please reach out to us. We do this work every single day. And the more organizations, the more companies, the more people we have a part of the UTM mission and the UTM movement, hey, we could do great things. So looking forward to see you all more plugged in, more engaged with the work that we do at Universal Tech Movement. So you're probably asking, well, why do we do what we do, right? There's so many things that we could be doing on in the world, but we focus on the tech industry. We focus on getting more of our communities inside the tech industry because there is a $1 trillion problem that we're solving. There are currently 4.3 million jobs inside the tech space globally that are unfilled. And we realize that the more individuals that we're able to train, that we're able to develop, that we're able to share opportunities with, we can help make a huge dent into that number and really fill the jobs that we're seeing across the tech space, but also provide people with more opportunities to either create their own product, their own service inside the tech industry. So if you are first time here, please go to our website at joinutm.org and see the overall services that we provide. If you've been with us for a while, hey, get deeper, get more plugged in. Let us connect you to more jobs, more opportunities, more volunteering, but also more speaking engagements as well. So we hope to see you more and more being a part of the movement and the work that we do so we can reduce how many jobs we're seeing go unfilled across the tech industry. So that's a little bit about UTM, about our mission and the work that we do. But today we're here for UTM Horizons. And I love UTM Horizons because we get to highlight and showcase great people doing incredible things across the industry and really showing their journey, their passion, how they got started. So I'm going to sit back and I'm going to welcome Ereika Collins to the stage. So Ereika, are you here? Are you in the building?
I am here. I am in the building. Thank you so much, Michael.
Hey, love it. Yeah, round of applause. Well, Ereika, I'm happy for you to be here because, like I said, you could be anywhere doing anything, and you decided to take time of your day to come and share your tech journey with us. So thank you so much for being here, Ereika. So I'm gonna bow out. I'm gonna let you go ahead and take the stage. So please just get started, introduce yourself, say hi to everybody, and let them know, the work that you do and why you're here today.
Absolutely. So I am a Principal Delivery Excellence Strategist at Adobe, and that means that I am one of the people who helps to scale our delivery excellence in terms of software deployment and implementations. I work within the internal facing teams now for the past 6 years. Prior to this role, I was a principal digital strategist, so I was customer facing and helping the large enterprise organizations roll out the enterprise level software at Adobe. A lot of people know Adobe for things like Photoshop or Acrobat, PDF, those kinds of things, but we also have enterprise level marketing software that does personalization at scale across multiple platforms. And so I would lead the teams in the strategic execution of those kinds of things. Fun fact about me, I co-produce a Black Fae Day event here in Austin, Texas. So if you went to Imole at the Carver Museum this past May, that was an event that I helped to co-produce, and I really enjoy getting a chance to put on those kinds of community events here in the city.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I was actually able to go with my daughter and my family at that event. So thank you for that opportunity and
Oh,
sharing
I'm so
that.
pleased.
I love seeing everything come together. Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, definitely. We can move on. Yeah. A little bit about my background. So, for those of you who are wondering, do I have to take the straight and narrow path, get into, MIT or Georgia Tech or UT in order to become somebody in the tech industry? I will say straightforwardly, no, not at all. I started my journey into tech being not at all technical. I was actually a biochemistry major at Xavier University in Louisiana, had a couple of twists and turns that happened that made me have to pivot. And so I took some computer science classes, I took some communications classes, ended up getting a bachelor's of network security from an online university called American Intercontinental University in the early 2000s. Uh, as I was going through that process, though, I was also teaching myself a lot of different things. So, my first role that could be considered somewhat technical was more on the marketing side. I was actually doing copywriting, freelance copywriting, a site that used to be called Elance. I believe it's called Upwork now. But at the time, the client that I had asked me if I was able to write copy for different personas. And I thought to myself, well, sure, I can write copy based on different types of customers. That's not a problem. And as I started getting deeper into it, I started learning things like conversion optimization, email marketing, all kinds of software related to that. And so I ended up having my own private consultancy for small businesses and nonprofits. And I used to bill it as everything from first touch to final conversion. And again, that was in the early 2000s when I had gotten this bachelor's degree, but wasn't using it very much at the time. And so I had pivoted into this and started getting customers that needed me to be able to do their marketing. Through that, I actually was connected with another company that over the course of several acquisitions ended up being acquired by Adobe. And at that time, I was still independent consultant for that particular company. And they brought me on to do some work for Adobe because I had worked with them prior before they were acquired. And I did that work. It was a lot of search engine optimization and, again, like email marketing, that kind of thing. And at the end of that, oh, it must have been 4 or 5 month engagement, maybe 6. The hiring manager actually reached out to me and said, "Hey, we're looking for somebody who could take on this role full time." And I said, "Well, I could take on this role full time." And that was in 2019. And I've been at Adobe ever since, either through digital strategy or again now as I am doing the risk management piece. And we can move on. Yep. So you can see here a lot of this laid out as I was talking about it. My own company, we've done a rebrand. It's called Orvella now. It's really just me doing, again, work with small businesses, mostly nonprofits at this point, helping them with measuring impact, quantifying impact, integrating things like AI and automation tools because nonprofits are usually so small and so strapped that being able to scale or expand is something that I really enjoy helping with. And so when I'm not working at Adobe, you might find me working with other nonprofits in the Austin area or nationally. I'm actually on the board here locally for E4 Youth and help support them as well with a lot of their measurement strategy and things of that nature. And if I'm not there, then I'm working on the creative events that I like to put on.
Hey Erica, could you talk a little bit about your what the transition like was for you from being in tech, working with a tech company to like leveraging those skills and working and supporting other organizations or other businesses? What was that transition like for you?
It's interesting because when you're doing that kind of thing for yourself, right, there's a little bit of tunnel vision that sometimes happens and a little bit of impatience, right? Like you're trying to build this thing for yourself, you're trying to see it grow, you're trying to push it forward. And when you're doing that for another business, one of the reasons that I'm hired is because I take that higher level of perspective, right? Like I'm looking at things holistically. And one of the things that made me successful early on when I was working as a consultant for these businesses was that I would pull things together that at that time, we're talking again early 2000s, where things were not typically integrated. So the same messaging on email as you might have on your web page, your social media, those kinds of things tended to still be very siloed. And I was coordinating because, again, I was the copywriter. I was making sure that the copy was consistent. And if you were running A/B tests, which is where you show one audience one version of copy or creative, and another audience another version of copy and creative, a lot of different ways to do that. But that's the simplified way to explain it. So when doing that, I was making sure that if you were in a certain, we call them segments, if you were in segment A, then the content that you were getting in your email was also targeted to segment A for your website copy. And a little tricky to do that for social media at the time. So just getting it as consistent as possible. And so I was able to do things like take the click-through rate for something like AdWords and divide the cost per click by half. So instead of you paying $1 a click, it's 50 cents a click. But then you're also getting more leads. So it was really, really powerful to be able to give some of these strategies to smaller businesses so that they could compete in the same arena as the larger ones. And when I started working with larger organizations, that's when things like change management and a lot of those negotiation skills kind of come into play, because it's not just about the work that you're doing for their customers, it's also the work that you need to do to coordinate and manage teams, some of which have competing priorities, right? Like that email marketing team might have very different goals than the web team, and they may not have worked together before. So you have to be able to navigate those kinds of things in order to make something holistically successful. And now that I'm working internally to help us scale those kinds of processes, it's those kinds of inflection points and the ways in which we drive that delivery excellence. I'm able to take all of that experience and fold that into the work I do, which is very rewarding. Oh, I think you're muted, Mike.
Yeah, no, love it, love it. You did a good transition to really talk about the work that you do now, and
Mhm.
what you like about your role. So yeah, no, please let's dive deeper. So, given what you're looking at now in Adobe, what does your current role look like now? And if you could talk about how your role has kind of shifted and changed a little bit over the years, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, so if I roll it back to what my role looked like when I first came onto Adobe, it was actually very specialized. There's a product that some folks out there in the tech world may remember that was called Magento. It's now Adobe Commerce. And I was a strategist specifically around commerce. So I was creating frameworks around how do you improve sales? So a lot of retail customers and things of that nature. How do you think about making your online experience one that's going to be compelling for customers in such a way that you're increasing your conversions, increasing your customer lifetime value, doing a lot of modeling, which we used to call at the time RFM, which is recency, frequency, and like monetary. So how recently has somebody purchased, how frequently does somebody purchase, how much does someone purchase? And that was used to create different segments of customers that you might personalize to, because somebody that's only coming to your site may be twice a year. Maybe they're trying to hit the back to school sale and like your Christmas sales or something like that. You are going to market to them very differently than somebody who's coming in week after week who maybe doesn't need a sale, but maybe they're purchasing more regularly. So it was a lot of that kind of segmentation work. And then as I shifted to learn more of the Adobe stack, Target, enterprise software level of that nature, then it became learning about how those different systems work together to have a holistic view of everything across the enterprise. And again, working with those larger teams. And now I am working to create that level of delivery excellence within all of our delivery teams. So everybody that's implementing that enterprise level software really being able to help address concerns that individuals might have internally with how we're delivering, what we're delivering, and the ways in which we can make sure that our customers are incredibly successful when they are implementing our software. So it's almost like a microcosm that got bigger and bigger and bigger as I've continued my career there. And yeah, I think we can move forward. Oh, this one was fun. Yeah, if I could go back in time, back to, the late 90s, back when the internet was new, I would make an absolute fortune with AdSense and e-commerce. So way back then, Google used to pay you for visitors to your website that would click on an ad that would then go to whatever other web page had paid for that. And they paid ridiculous amounts, like sometimes 10 cents a click, 25 cents a click, something like that. And if I had all of those skills that I have now and could take them back then, it would be just phenomenal. All right. Oh, on mute again.
So
There we
how
go.
does the market change now though, right? So we can't go back in time, can only go forward, right? So for those who are thinking about e-commerce now, thinking about copywriting, thinking about anything in the digital marketing space, what would be your comments to them now, given all the tools and opportunities we have today?
Oh my gosh, there's so many opportunities and there's so many challenges, right? Like I'm not going to ignore the elephant in the room, right? There's a lot of people who will say, "Oh, well, AI can write my copy, AI can do my marketing." And I would say that if you're thinking about this from a strategic lens, AI can do a lot, but what it cannot do is empathize with your audience. It cannot help you reach and grow with a certain level of authenticity. So there's always going to need to be a human in those roles. And so if you're looking to get into copywriting now, I would definitely say look at persona-based marketing, look at things like real-time personalization, understand what the customer journey looks like for whatever industry it is you're looking to write for, because it can be quite different. Like now, in the past, people would talk about something called conversion funnel, which is like, okay, we're going to go from awareness, like the big top of the funnel, all the way down to the purchase, narrow part of the funnel. The way I like to talk about it now is it's less a funnel and more like trying to get an 8-ball into a pocket without the cue stick. You just have like ping pong balls. So you've got to hit from every angle and you've still got to get them going in the right direction, right? Because we are so inundated with content. We see stuff online, we see stuff on television, we see stuff on our tablets, our phones, in person, everywhere. And so understanding how to orchestrate that and understanding what matters to customers in that moment of, whether they're on their phone scrolling or they are in store, everybody's looking for a particular experience and everybody's telling themselves a certain kind of story. As a copywriter, you want to be effective in telling the kinds of stories that resonate with your audience such that they take the actions that you're looking for them to take in the time frame that you're looking for them to take them. So that's one thing that I would say is really broaden your horizons of what copywriting and digital marketing can be, because it's more than just the online space now. It's in person, it's in our pockets, it's sometimes both at once, right? Like I know we've seen like the advertisings and things that can come up when you're watching Amazon and it's directly correlated to what's on the TV. All of that is technology that you can be a part of. And every piece of copy that you see, somebody had to write it or at least approve it for it to exist. So it's all around.
But isn't that a little bit scary though, right? Because I think about even your last comment about how advertising's on your phone, it's on the TV, then you get an email about it or advertising come through in another capacity. It's like time out, right? Should we be leaning forward and deeper into the spaces, or should we be more worried and concerned about how just fast and integrated things are moving into space?
I think that you lean in with ethics and with eyes wide open, right? So if I'm saying I want to buy shoes, we're just going to use that as an analogy, right? Then I want those advertisements. I want to see what my best offer is going to be. I want to have those offers presented to me when I'm looking to buy. And when I'm not, I want you to leave me alone. And so smart marketing does that. Smart marketing says, hey, you've been browsing around. I'm going to send you some non intrusive, but reminder kinds of ads so that you see it and you go, oh, yeah, that's right. I was going to get that pair of sneakers. And then when you do, smart marketing stops marketing those sneakers to you, right? So you don't see 15 emails that all say the same thing, or worse, 15 emails that come one right after the other, none of which are anything that you're interested in. And we've all seen that kind of marketing as well. At the same time, being thoughtful and ethical about it means that we are not using information that people might find sensitive, even if that information is something that we have access to, right? And even when I'm advising nonprofits about the use of AI and how they can use AI in order to further their mission, there's lots of times where I'm explaining to them, like, there's certain kinds of information that you don't want to feed into AI, right? Like, you don't want anything that's going to be personally identifiable. You don't want anything that's going to be sensitive. By all means, put your mission statement in there. By all means, give the criteria for the grant that you need to write to so that you're able to craft a response. But information about, sensitive demographics, religion, all of those kinds of things, we don't put those in those kinds of tools. And then thinking about stuff like, legal ramifications, if you're in like a healthcare kind of industry, then there's certain things like HIPAA and all of those things to be aware of. If you market in the UK, they have their own set of legal regulations that you have to be aware of. All of these things give us a set of operating rules, and then we hold ourselves to a certain level of integrity in that marketing so that our customers can trust us and feel like they are comfortable giving us their information because we're going to use it responsibly for what they intended for us to use it for.
Yeah, I hear a lot of comments about trust, about accountability, and I
Mhm.
love your comment about smart marketing. Yeah, completely agree with you on that, and that's where it's so important to have all these tools and systems connected. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
So I'll let you share your pro tips. You've been inside this space for a while, Erica. So what pro tips do you have for those who are watching live and those who watch it later?
Yeah. So if you're looking to get into a role like mine, where you're a strategist, it's very important to lead with curiosity. People will come to you with challenges. They will come to you with vague requirements. They will come to you sometimes a little bit defensive, right? Especially in some areas where maybe it's a smaller team, they don't have the budget, they're not convinced that you can help them. You want to dig into why and not just what. Why will help you to provide answers that have the right kind of context. Like, let's just throw out a scenario. You have a small business that you want to be a strategist for, and they're like, we need more sales. Okay, what does more sales mean to you? Does that mean that you're making 10 sales a week? Does it mean you're making 100? Does it mean you're making 1,000? You know, what does that look like for you now? How many are you making now? Why is it important for sales to increase in this channel versus a different channel, right? Like maybe they're coming to you for email marketing. Well, does it matter if it's email based sales or are they social based sales? Do you use social? Having that level of curiosity helps you to tease out the full picture of what's going on. And in the reverse, if somebody is in a position where they're coming to you and they are very defensive, very concerned, leading with curiosity and questions always brings the temperature of the room down. So asking people, not necessarily what did you do in this instance, but maybe what was your thinking, right? Like, walk me through the process that you took to get from A to B, and that will also give you more information. All of this around soft skills. So, being able to speak persuasively, being able to bring people over to your side, being able to negotiate, right? Like, you have a customer, I'm an independent consultant. Oh, I want all of these things and I only want to pay X. And you know that it's going to take Y plus to deliver all of that, right? So being able to negotiate so that everybody wins. And then adaptive listening. So not just active listening for, like what they're telling you, but adapting to the kind of listening that they need from you. Are they needing you to help them find a flaw in their logic? Are they looking for you to provide, your insights into the challenge? Are they looking for you to confirm like what the next actions are going to be, but being an active participant as you're listening to those things? And then finally, and I know we talk about networking here a lot, but cultivating your circle of influence. So, not just like where you are right now, the altitude of your role, but the power of your voice. Are there people who are in leadership who will listen to you because you have a certain amount of expertise? Are there people that you need to bring into your circle to be able to have those kinds of conversations where you are able to influence decisions? And it's not always a straight line, right? Sometimes opportunities open up because you're willing to have those conversations with people that are just a little bit outside of your direct connections. That's it. We can move on. Oh, mute again.
Man, keep doing that.
That's
I
okay.
love all the pro tips you're sharing, Ereika. And as you're just talking, I'm thinking it through, thinking about the
Mhm.
clients we work with, and we're thinking about the partners we work with, right? And everyone is leaning into curiosity. Everyone's leaning into interpersonal or soft skills, right?
Mhm.
Especially nowadays, as we lean more into AI, everybody's going back to, okay, now that more and more people have the AI skills, well, what about the interpersonal skills, right? What does public speaking, time management, email communication, what does those things look like? Because we all still want to work with people that we like working with, right? And that's
Yes,
where all the soft skills and interpersonal skills come into play. So thank you for those pro tips.
of course.
So this is our last slide, Ereika. So I'll let you talk about your hats and hobbies, because people think that if you are in tech, all you do is do things related to technology, and that's not always the case. So yeah, please share
Oh,
with everybody what
yeah.
you
That is definitely not the case with me. So it's almost like a 180, like a complete flip. I do a lot of fiction writing and poetry writing. I also work with rhythms and poetry with Jay Wrights. We have sessions almost every Tuesday of the month out of Rich's Art Gallery. So, first Tuesdays are open mic, second Tuesdays, creative composition. Final Tuesday of the month is our poetry slam, and some other events that kind of go in through that. So I host some of the workshops sometimes on second Tuesdays. I'm almost always there for open mic night and the slams. I also participate in a lot of community events, whether I am doing some kind of workshop to be able to help nonprofits get their own like impact framing or impact statement, or a measurement framework, or choosing the kind of software. I'll put those on every couple of months where, it's just 90 minutes. We have a discussion. Let's answer some questions. I also do some art and visual media, just like me playing around with my acrylic paints and that kind of thing. And then occasionally some podcasting. There's a one podcast called Write Quick that a friend of mine puts on, and we discuss books there every so often. There's some other podcasts around where you might catch me guest hosting or being just a guest having conversations. But yeah, if I'm not working in tech, then I'm somewhere either playing pretend or creating something fun. And that's it.
I love that. I love that, Ereika. It's always good seeing what people do outside of their work, right? Because we can't just work all the time. We got to be plugged in and engaged in the community. So love to hear that. Love to see the other stuff you got going on. And please do share those events, with us. We post events on our channels all the time to let people know what everything that's going on inside the community. So yeah, so please definitely do share those with me.
Oh, yeah. There is an event called Legend of the Realm. It is going to be the second Saturday next month. I think that's July 11th. And that will be me hosting a poetry realm. So, Legend of the Realm's giving you a very quick spiel. We basically create an entire immersive world every month, and each world is themed with a color. My color for next month is orange, and there's a competition attached to it. My particular competition is a poetry slam, so there'll be 5 poets competing for a prize that night, and then the opportunity to compete for the grand prize. This month in June, it was singers. So we had musicians that came and sang, and we have an immersive experience called Healing House that's there for mental health, immersion. It covers all 5 senses. And then we also have a market. So there's people there that are selling all kinds of goods and services. There's some food vendors. So it's a really great time if you can make it out. It's at Sky Candy. The address to Sky Candy is, I'm blanking on that at the moment, but I'll get you all the information so you can put it on the calendar. We hope folks will come out and have fun with us.
For sure, for sure. I mean, it sounds exciting just listen to it. I'm like thinking, what can I do? What can my wife do? What can my girls do? So I'm just kind of thinking through it. I mean, I got to double check the calendar, make sure I'm available. But yeah, please do send it, share it my way. And Ereika, thank you for being here. Thank you so much for sharing your overall tech journey, what you like about your role, what you're doing now, your hobbies. If we could go back in time, I definitely do appreciate it. Oh, before I do so, Ereika, I'll let you say your farewells, and then I'll continue on and close us out.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, everybody that came and attended. I really appreciate the opportunity to get to share more about my role, particularly because it's not one of those roles that's, programming or what people think of as hard tech, right? But it's also not really marketing. It is a part of the implementation process for software and services. So if you're more on that side of the house, this might be a role that you're interested in terms of getting into tech. So I'm really pleased to have the opportunity to share more about it.
Well, Ereika, thank you so much for being here and taking the time out your day and just sharing your journey. So if you are watching now or you're watching later and you also want to share your tech journey, please email us at contact@joinutm.org. We do these at least once a month. And if we miss a month, my apologies, but we do try our best to come here at least once a month with the UTM Horizons. So stay tuned for next month. We'll have another speaker tuning in. But if you do want to be a part of our UTM Horizons, please email us at contact@joinutm.org, and we would love to get you in rotation to share your journey. If you do love the work that we do here at Universal Tech Movement, please scan the QR code and donate. You can also go to our website at joinutm.org/donate to see our full donation page and to see where your funds go and how to support the mission of connecting more communities in need to the tech industry. And we cannot do that work without you. So please, if you want to donate your time, donate your capital, donate your experience, any amount of donation allows us to continue to move forward and push the mission forward here at Universal Tech Movement. So I thank y'all for tuning in. We are live streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So feel free to follow us across those social media platforms. But we're also on other platforms. So you can find us at @JoinUTM. And that's across most of the platforms that we're on. And you can also go to our website, which is joinutm.org for more information. So thank you so much for tuning in to the end. We appreciate y'all. We do this work and these events for the community. So please reach out if we could be of any service to you or the people in your network. Have a good one, y'all. Peace.